Alright, it's time for some PvP. This is way back when we went through Huntsman's Corpse. This is Simon Belmont, and he's currently a blue sentinel. So, yeah, look at that. He's being summoned by someone who's a member of the Way of the Blue. And we're now just, gonna help someone who has been invaded by someone to fend off the invader. This is considered the newbie covenant, the one we're helping right now, not us. We are the helper covenant, so to speak. And I've never actually had this happen to me, someone helping me, I mean. But this may have been due to the fact that I basically never really joined the Way of Blue until there's, I am a member usually, but only until I find another covenant. Well, that guy I'm helping, he appears to be a way higher level than what you'd be here in New Game, of course, because this is New Game Plus, where soul memory isn't factored in and only soul memory is. Actually, the New Game cycle you're in doesn't matter unless you're in the first one. New Game Plus, 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 and so on, all fall in the same pool of PvP. So I might actually fight someone at some point who's considerably higher than I am, because you can always invade or be invaded at least a tier higher or lower, more or less in some cases. But yeah, using Whip is a good way to catch someone off guard, but I wasn't really utilizing it that well here. And he finished him off himself. I can get behind that. Yeah, that guy's using endgame gear. And this is from back when we were in the Rat Covenant. This area is kind of bad for the Rat Covenant style PvP. Essentially, every once in a while, if you are a member with the ring equipped, you will summon someone into your game. And that someone's job is to get to the end of the area, but no one really cares, they just wait it out. This area is particularly bad because there aren't really that many useful traps to activate, and the enemies are pretty easy to take care of, so they mostly serve as a little bit of a distraction, and not much more. But now with the rats on my side, it should be easy. And I'm throwing poop at him, great. A dung pie is something you can buy from the Rat Covenant guy. It's essentially, as already stated, poop. You can throw it at people. It's the best item. It basically makes it so we get toxic buildup a little bit, but if we hit our opponent, they get a lot of toxic buildup. But I don't think I managed to actually get anyone toxic with it, ever. Might just be that it was more powerful in the first game. But yeah, this goes on for a little while longer. This is kind of the worst PvP match I've ever had, to be honest. No offense to the guy, but this is just not fun. This entire area, as I said, kind of sucks for PvP. The other Rat Covenant area is much more fun, although sadly, also way too much in the favor of the guy who's summoning. Which is the point, but it's a little too much in their favor. And now it's essentially just a regular PvP match because we don't really care anymore. Well, I stopped caring. The guy played it well. He waited until I ran out of patience. And it didn't take too long. And the Phantom Range killed me. That'll happen in PvP. So, the other area. We've already seen this for a little bit when I did the weapon showcase for this area. But here's some actual PvP from here. this is way in the favor of the guy who's summoning. The defender, I like to call him. In our case, that's us, so we're the one who will probably win. There are people who just activate every trap and hide out near the bonfire at the end of the area. And they seem to be able to win by just idling. But honestly, if the player has some skill and went through the game before, this probably won't happen. And yep, spells are mostly used for mind games, at least that's my use for them. But a spell like this with random projectiles can also be used to do damage. Regular projectiles are just way too easy to dodge though. Unless someone's drinking Estus, in that case it's a good way to punish someone. Alright, so, Dragon Covenant time. We've seen this in the tying up some loose ends video how to access it, and now we're gonna summon somebody, or rather, we're gonna be summoned by someone. And it is actually a contributor to the thread who summoned me. Oh god, it's beautiful. Liquidy Poo said that this character's name is Chad. Also that it's beautiful. I don't even know how to describe it, you just look at it. So, let's fight then. I was thinking of fighting a little bit dirty maybe, but nah. I'm not that much of a dick. Yet. This bridge here is a pretty popular PvP hotspot. If I wasn't wearing the name engraved ring right now, I would see plenty of summon signs here. Dragon signs and, well, red signs as well. When summoned as a dragon, by the way, you will not be able to be invaded by anyone else. And you also will not be able to summon anyone else. This is a dueling covenant. And time for one more. I was hoping to get a couple more people, but doesn't matter. I was actually expecting Liquidy Poo to bring in a friend. I had the suspicion that it was going to be double teamed. But this is not possible with a Dragon Covenant. Good to know, huh? I didn't know that then, to be honest. Kind of escaped me. But I changed my loadout to fight a little more, let's just say resourceful. That's a good word. Using spells like Scraps of Life is definitely a good choice, especially after using other spells. It'll cause people to rush in, and will probably hit them. Not that I'm a pro at PvP or anything, it's just something that I noticed. Now, I won't be showing off all the Covenant rewards, but I happen to have those of the Dragon Covenant, so for 10 duels won, or rather 10 Dragon Scales turned in, you get the Dragon Headstone, and you will be able to transform your head into that of a dragon's and breathe fire. For 20, you get the Dragon Torso Stone, which turns the rest of your body into, well, this dragon armor type deal. You're essentially a dragon now. And for 30, you get this sword I'm using, which is not that great. It is a great sword, but it doesn't scale with anything. So infusing it with raw is probably the best, because it's a pretty good upgrade. Or the flat upgrade, there's really no downside to it in that case. And while this isn't really that powerful, it's fun to play around with. With the dragon head we can breathe fire, and we can kind of generate a blast with the body stone, torso stone, which will just dagger enemies. It's limited in its usefulness as far as I can tell, but as I said, it's fun to play around with. Though maybe it is more of a use in PvP, but I'm not really big on PvP. As a little bit of an aside here, I'm not really showing off every single bit of PvP you can do. Just a rough overview of some of the more unique things you can see here. Because, well, most just boils down to actually having, I don't know, a different item to summon someone or be summoned. I've just tried to show off the most unique stuff to give a rough overview of what the PvP is like. And here we have a little bit of footage from the PC version. Place your red summon sign somewhere in King's Passage or even Drangleic Castle near the end, I've heard. And you can be summoned for the Mirror Knight fight to help the Mirror Knight. And even during the loading screen the music starts playing and you hear sound effects, so it's usually best to mash the dodge button just so you can roll away as soon as you're in the game. Which is what I had to do here. And I'm using a weapon from the third DLC, Crown of the Ivory King. And this is basically just a very few days after it came out. So that guy probably never saw what I'm doing to him here. It's essentially another fist weapon with a really cool moveset. I mean, just look at it. And we can throw a Hadouken, of course. If you have two of those weapons, the Bone Fists, you will have a much more powerful Hadouken. In fact, every power stance attack will be more powerful than when used with a Cestus, though you can still access the moveset. We'll be seeing how to get that weapon later in the DLC, of course, because it's the one thing I really looked forward to when I got it. Because this was actually kind of sort of in the game files before, just not accessible. Most of the time, these fights, when the Mirror Knight helps you, will have some kind of White Phantom in it as well to make things harder, because most people kind of summon for this fight. If they don't summon a human, they will probably have summoned Benhart, which I suppose can become a problem. But it's only fair. So, last thing I want to show you is arenas. There is one for the blue Sentinels. It's those arenas. Every statue, I think, has a chance to bring you to a different arena, but it'll just bring you to one that's currently active to match you up with somebody. And in the Blood Bro arena, or rather the Blood Bro area, you can actually also look for PvP. Only the Blood Bros call them duelists and it's a fight to the death. And the Sentinels call it sparring, which is just a little bit of friendly competition without any lethality involved. So here, have a look at those. Just gonna have you look at it. I'll be signing out for now. See you next time.